Our business is very comfortable. We still didn't know that why this particular suddenly unverified data came in the picture from China Economic Information Center. The whole thing dissipated into various social media influencers, and they always say that any propaganda is a good propaganda. And Goa is a place where anybody using it sometimes can find himself increase his own TRP. So in the last quarter, we have had continuous attacks, out of which we tried to first reasonably put things together and answer all the questions put up through social media. We know that there are concerns and issues in any tourism destination you travel, but it is not Goa per se only. And at the same time, we needed to revisit and check what the numbers were. So when it came to December, we had to decide whether to counter and talk about it at that particular time or wait for our facts, figures, and then talk about it. Talking to the board members and talking to our Honorable Chief Minister, we said we will wait because the attack would make no difference to the tourist footfalls and tourism in Goa. We have comfortably sailed the year 2024 in terms of the numbers. As we talk about quality over quantity, I would also highlight that the quantity-wise comparison which has been done, and there was various sort of rumors being spread that Goa has no tourists, no tourism in Goa. As briefly our tourism director has shared, he has shared about a year-on-year growth of 21% compared to previous year. He has shared the December to December growth, which has been quite impressive in terms of 54% increase in the number of tourists between December 2023 and December 2024 comparison. The quarterly growth of the last quarter, if we see, it showed a growth of 38%, which showed a very strong end to the year. Domestic tourism, in fact, went up by 21%, reflecting a sustained interest in local travel. Foreign tourism has seen a growth of 3%, the sector which is recovering steadily, and we are definitely optimistic about a further growth in coming years. I would like to highlight very importantly that the last week of December 2024 saw daily flights of 200 flights per day, which is quite a record in the preceding years for the last week of December. At the same time, when we spoke to our OTA platforms, whether it was Make My Trip or Booking.com, and when we asked them which was the best leisure destination in India, they boiled out and they announced Goa is the best leisure destination as far as Goa is concerned in terms of the travel. So when we start talking about compilation of social media influence, what has happened in the last couple of months, which somewhere I also use the word toolkits, I would like to put things here together and ensure that we are working here to see these positive trends and the continued interest in our state as a preferred travel destination. I think putting this whole story together will plug the story of the decline. The people who tried to put this word decline in Goa tourism, I think we'll be able to put a plug on this particular story. I'm happy to say that Goa is performing much better than the national average. Goa has got great resilience and adaptability in a competitive tourism landscape. And as a year to year around destination, we are also looking at increasing off season business. Today's stakeholders meeting gave an insight on the issues raised. We wouldn't discount the issues raised by certain social media influencers, but as I said earlier, it is always a part of a tourism destination that they have their own challenges. And it is not only Goa to be pinpointed the way it was, but coming here and acknowledging the government acknowledging the issues and wanting to put the things ahead came with the stakeholders conclave today. We have summed up all the issues which will be taken up for the Goa Tourism Board meeting, which will be chaired by the Honorable Chief Minister. Well, after that, we are expecting the Chief Secretary with his Secretary and Directors to have an action plan, which will be presented to the Chief Minister, to me, and to the rest of our colleagues who have been there wanting to put things ahead in perspective. Tourism is an industry and not only a department. And tourism, when we get a throwback, whether it is on the taxi, whether it is on the cleanliness, whether it is many things which get highlighted, or the touting, there are responsible departments which work collectively to ensure that we have the best of it for the tourist who comes here for an experience. We need to also accept that there has been a little over-tourism and infrastructure strain. We know that there is overcrowding in North Goa beaches like Baga and Kalangut, which is leading to friction between locals and tourists. We know that there are issues on waste management. We are working towards waste management, public transport, and the cleanliness of the beaches. There are concerns of certain areas where we talk about increasing presence of budget travelers, which create a lot of challenges such as disregard for local rules and culture. But with the enhanced beach cleanliness and facilities to attract quality tourists and understand it's just not a beach issue, we have started working closely with our Honorable Chief Minister to resolve the same. We are wanting to ensure that technology is adapted at every stage. We have had the Goa Miles and the Goa Taxi, which is already there, talking about the transport services in terms of adaptability to technology. And as we recognize certain pockets have complaints about taxis, we also would like to highlight that taxi, traditionally the taxi fellows have been our ambassadors in terms of a long term tourist who has been coming every year, who normally takes him along on an annual understanding. So that relationship management which a Goan has been doing with Atiti Deva Bhava, we only need to improvise certain areas which we have started doing with the adaptability of technology. We are looking at making stronger efforts to educate visitors about respecting our own local culture, traditions, and boundaries. So, as we talk about all these things, would like to highlight that the Goa government is working with the Goa Tourism Board, which is chaired by the Chief Minister and is already having equal number of representations from the industry and stakeholder meetings. And like in 2024, we have had meetings with airport, railways, shacks, water sports, among others, which we need to put regulations in place. And I can say that we are working ourselves very progressively. Today also we have had a full day conclave with all the stakeholders of the tourism industry of Goa, which our director just highlighted, which will be placed before the Goa Tourism Board. We have to understand that there are challenges which we have taken up with the center also in terms of the issues as far as airfare is concerned, the dynamics of air travel, new connectivity, emerging connecting to emerging markets. Now this is a continuous process, and as we take the recognition of issues that we are facing at the state level, we are pretty sure that whether it is a visa issue, whether it is a connectivity issue, whether it is a fare issue, I think all these issues are in transit. Secondly, as a state, we are being compared to a country. As a state, we have our own restrictions to open sky policies, we have our own restrictions to seat entitlement, we have our own restrictions for the type of things that we need to connect with. At the same time, we cannot be compared with the footfalls of a country like Sri Lanka, Thailand, Vietnam, which have been talking about tourism in a different perspective. We wouldn't want to be Thailand, is what I said some time back, and I'm very pretty sure that with the two airports coming up, with numbers with a growth potential of 27% at Daboli, I think we should put at rest the issues of people who have been talking and creating rumors about Daboli shutting down and becoming a ghost airport. When we have these particular two airports moving in and an increase not only in numbers but also looking at the both airports investing further in their own infrastructure, whether it's MOPA or Daboli, it's a very clear trend in terms of understanding that the footfalls are here to increase. Emerging markets connecting, new markets connecting with the trade. We have connected to Poland, we have connected to Kazakhstan, we have connected to Uzbek, and we can definitely see the numbers going on with these charters. Today, as we talk to the charter companies, we have had a lot of brainstorming session had with them to understand what the numbers, how the numbers can increase, which numbers need to be moving up, and how we do it. And every place where we are talking about, we need to very clearly say that today, because of the two airports, we are connected close to about 30 destinations domestically. Internationally, as we think about increasing, along with Honorable Chief Minister, we have already had meetings with the Civil Aviation Ministry to look at a resolution for more carriers and bigger aircraft which will be able to land on our shores. According to the hotel Elevate, Goa has seen substantial growth in terms of new hotel inventories. 770 new rooms added in 2023 in a category of hotels that they have been tracking. So as we look about registered accommodations, I would also like to highlight that the supply and the demand of hotels, which has led to certain increase in the rates of the hotels, we have been able to, under the ease of doing business, we have been able to register from 3,000 odd hotels in 2022, going up to 9,000 hotels in 2024, increase of 6,000 hotels in different categories. So we are looking at increase in supply so that the demand will be spread and customers will have more options, including homestays. We have different recognitions of the hotels, 4 stars and 5 stars, which showed an occupancy of close to 100% in this year with a very respectable ARR, average room night rate. So when we are talking about economics, we are talking about the indicators where tourism is one of the biggest contributors to GDP in terms of 16.43% of the GDP and talking about roughly about 35% of the employment. The issues which have been there is that every hotel is not sold out. So when the tourism industry is in a decline, tourism industry is, there are no tourists in Goa, or some spreads which the influencers try to put across. We have also had a great contribution towards F&B. High spending domestic travelers have been definitely driving these food and beverage revenues and premium properties. These emerging trends, when we talk about in Indian tourism, we need to understand that India's booming tourism has led to outbound tourism, with countries which have been eyeing Indian tourism through visa on arrival policies and attractive offers. And for us, tourism is not a zero-sum game. We are working on it. Tourists are taking multiple vacations, and Goa definitely continues to be a favorite among Indian tourists. The Indian middle class, in driving of off-season tourism, is preferring short vacations, and Goa definitely is one of them. We have been adding a lot of more things in our part. When we talk about regenerative tourism, we are the first in the country to talk about regenerative tourism. We have been the first to talk about sustainability. And we, as through these particular four pillars of regenerative tourism, of culture, of society, of economics and environment, we have been doing our part to ensure that we promote Goa as a proper premier destination. Promoting sports tourism, promoting cruise tourism, promoting event tourism, making industry partnerships like with Make My Trip, Agoda, Airbnb, Fly91, Mastercard, AIA, that's the Ayurveda Institute, are some of the things that we have done in the last 2 years. Airbnb, for example, went one step ahead and trained rural women in rural Goa with the support of Department of Tourism, which is allowed them to get skilling in terms of homestay promotions. So our commitment to balancing growth with sustainability through initiatives for waste management, infrastructure enhancement, and awareness campaigns will continue. And as we do this, it is very important that this positivity goes out. So much of positivity is happening in Goa. It was very important to address with you guys as a media, but also to the online media platforms, because the public perception of what they have tried to make Goa and malign Goa's image is something which we needed to talk about. Today is a day when we are talking here today with facts and figures. So I think as we plug these issues of influencers trying to create a negative impact on tourism, it is very important that the influencers who have been coming to Goa and putting their things together and enjoying Goa also figures and things of how we have been positively putting tourism across. You said that foreign tourists, that's grown by 3%. You said that foreign tourists. Can you just give a mic? So you said, yeah, you said foreign tourists, the number of foreign tourists has grown by 3%. Why is it compared to other, like compared to domestic and other segments, it's grown a little. I mean, why is it such a weak growth for as per UNWTO report, post-COVID figures, Asia is still to recover at minus 18%. So as the number of footfalls in the country, that is what I said, the 3% increase is a recovery of about, if I compare my foreign travel in 2019 vis-a-vis now, in spite of the Asia being at minus 18%, our growth has been better than the national average, and we are at almost 50%, more than a little more than 50% recovery of pre-COVID. So as we have had emerging markets, we were trying to connect to Israel, there was a war. The war in Russia has still not given us the numbers which we were expecting to happen. So there are concerns internationally for the numbers which do normally travel outbound. At the same time, we have started connecting to newer markets which were not there before. With our friends who are in the charter line, we have been connected to Poland, we have connected to Uzbek, we have connected to Kazakhstan, and this year we look at connecting to many more different countries which are looking at outbound travel. The challenge is the connectivity, which normally when you are comparing us, you should compare us to a state, not to a country. So you are talking about numbers coming into Sri Lanka and you not you per se, but the numbers whoever talks compare the Sri Lanka number to a Goa number. Goa has restrictions in terms of connectivity, as an open sky policy, the seat entitlement, and type of flight coming in. So these challenges cannot give us the numbers even if we want to prospectively look at it. Sorry? How do you plan to address We have already started addressing these challenges with the center along with our chief minister. So whether it's the visa on arrival, whether it's the e-visa, the time required to get the e-visa out, things which have been discussed will definitely be taken up to the center fresh with new thoughts, whichever needs to be put with the solution thing to it. And we are definitely positive that with all with our chief minister meeting honorable home minister, the civil aviation minister, and the other ministers concerned, we should be able to resolve a lot of issues in terms of international connectivity. In terms of investment into tourism sector, how's that? Can you give us some? We should understand the capacity in terms of investments is quite high. Taj is investing further. You have the Oberois coming in. You have the Hilton moving up more places. Taj, in fact, in Goa is roughly having, including AMA, including their own this type of five-star properties, close to about 60 properties in Goa. And further investments coming in Goa is a very clear indicator that the hotel industry will increase its infrastructure, knowing that their demand versus supply, that they have a lot to gain in terms of economics. And that will allow us to create more employment opportunities. So we are very optimistic. All we needed to do is come back with the figures which we have done today. And we didn't want to respond to every social media influencer who took Goa for a ride in the last quarter. The issues raised, well taken, we will address it. But the way they took it up was something which we need to jointly condemn, not only as media but also as stakeholders of the Goan communities who have been part to the Goan tourism for legacy wise, right from a taxi brother to a hotel industry, who have been working sincerely towards the tourism industry. Every tourism place has its own things, challenges, as I just said. But this type of things highlighted at that particular level and trying to make negate Goa, I think that was a spot on which they tried to catch on, making themselves maybe in that light of taking Goa, using Goa as a hashtag and tagging Goa and trying to make it into their famous line. But I think today the figures will plug all these things.
Good evening. This is Gerard here from Hindustan Times. You have given us the figures in terms of percentage from last year as compared to this year. Could you share the actual?
2023, 81 lakh 75,460 domestic, 4 lakh 52,702 international, total amounting to 86 lakh 28,162. In case of 2024, 99 lakhs 41,285 domestic, international 4 lakhs 67,911, total coming to 1 crore 4 lakhs 9,196. And as our director said, we are sharing these figures on a very conservative side, not on a higher side. Very conservatively shared. And these figures are only from airlines and railways, discounting Western Railways and the cars maybe which come into Goa and to and fro.
Another issue that has been raised by the is the issue of construction, constant construction, not just of infrastructure projects, but also of fields, of hillsides. Goa is losing its greenery. So was that an issue that was discussed today?
I think the last declared report of the forest cover is roughly we are at about 62% as compared to the other states which are at whatever. So as you take up this particular subject, today's tourism spoke about progressively talking about how we need to take tourism ahead and whatever other issues are there, those issues I think we can address along with the chief minister.
Good evening. This is Newton Square from Times India. I have a follow-up question to what Gerard said actually. A lot of the foreigners that we have spoken about, if you see the last 10 years, Goa's roads are constantly dug up. First it was the Zuari side, now it's Porvori. In a couple of years, we will see the roads around Daboli being dug up. So that's a 15-year block of the main connectivity point for any foreign arrival. At which point, which is there's kind of fatigue about construction for tourists. How are you going to address that fatigue? Because the tourists are not going to come again.
We have both sides of the coin. When you come to a tourism destination, you need to provide the best services. From media also, you all have complained that tourism destination